What's next for the Phoenix Suns? The trade deadline has passed. No Jimmy Butler. Bradley Beal staying. Some may argue, have we even improved our roster? It's a big next few weeks for the Phoenix Suns in terms of how these players gel together, what rotations come to light, and which players can step up in the team. But throughout today, we will be talking about the trades made, how Bud can fix this mess, and obviously the last two games against the Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. So be sure to follow, like, subscribe if you are a Phoenix Suns fan or if you are a NBA fan, and make sure to comment down your thoughts below on all the topics that I talk about today. So let's get into it. First of all, the trades made. Obviously, the early one was Nick Richards in, Josh Okogie out, and we did give away a pick, I believe. But I feel like that was a good trade. We've seen how Nick Richards has played. He's averaging a double-double. It's really what we needed from a centre. He's athletic. There are some moments where he does make poor decisions, but if you get him the ball in the paint, he will be hitting that dunk. He will be getting a 2-point, or at best, he'll be drawing a foul. And he's actually a very good free throw shooter. But Nurkic finally gone, and a lot of fans did want him gone. He's finally gone, and in return, we got Micic, the EuroLeague MVP, and Martin. Two guards basically again. Obviously, Martin can also play as a forward. But the main issue is that Nurkic is out, and we really wanted to free up the cap space because we were under the second apron. We still are under the second apron, but come the summer, getting rid of Nurkic would help, as well as potentially moving on Beal in the summer. But Micic and Martin, let's talk about them. Micic, he really hasn't hit the ground running. You know, when he came over from the EuroLeague, a lot of fans thought he was going to be a very good guard in the league. You know, he can get buckets, he can play make. You know, not the biggest defender. I think he's only 6'3", but his playmaking and his scoring ability was going to make up for it. Obviously, it hasn't worked, and there are reports that the Suns will just be looking to offload him. Apparently, he wants to move back to the EuroLeague, so I'm not really sure what team he would go to over there. But Kobe Martin is the one that we have to talk about. Again, a guard, can play as a forward. He has been having an okay season. I mean, you know, he can be playing obviously next to Devin Booker. He won't really be a point guard, but he can also play as a backup forward instead of KD. Averaging 8 points a game, 2 assists, just under 5 rebounds. Obviously not the greatest, but there's not really much the Suns could do in terms of when they were trading who they could really get. So again, Martin is a player where he's not a great defender, but he will hustle. He will work hard on the defensive end. He will try to get stops. And, you know, we currently play a lineup of Tyus, Booker, Dunn, Kevin Durant, and Nick Richards at the 5. Potentially Martin in for Ryan Dunn, but then you lose a bit of defensive stability on that end. But he's also a better shooter than Ryan Dunn, so it will be interesting. But he will definitely have a role to play. I don't think that it was a great trade because I really wanted a centre in instead of Nurkic. We're seeing Mason Plumlee play 25-30 minutes a night. I don't know what Buddy's doing. Play Nick Richards for the majority of the minutes. Plumlee can come in for 15-20 minutes a night, even give also some minutes. But Plumlee and Bud, I don't know what relationship they have. He keeps on playing him. Does not make sense. We really needed a backup centre, and again, I get why we traded Nurk for the cap space. Obviously, we're under the second apron. But if it wasn't for a centre, I probably would have kept Nurk just for being the backup centre. But the main thing is that Bradley Beal has ended up staying, and we did not get Jimmy Butler. We traded and we tried for Jimmy Butler throughout the whole few months that the deadline was open. And obviously, the no trade clause was talking about for a very, very long time. We did not manage to convince Beal to go somewhere. There were reports where if he did want to leave, it was going to be to a team that could contend, could compete. He also wanted to go to a city where, you know, he could move his family there and they are comfortable staying. So obviously that limited his teams, and not a lot of teams that were contending really wanted to take on his contract. There were reports about the Wizards maybe wanted him taken back. A three-way trade was proposed with the Hawks, Wizards and Suns, but obviously it did not work out. Now that Bradley Beal stays, obviously Jimmy Butler has gone to the Warriors, and last night he had a very good game. I believe he had 25 points. You know, the Warriors came back from being 20 down. Jimmy Butler, a great debut, and everything that we saw last night against the Warriors is what we probably wanted from Jimmy Butler when he came here. But he's not here, and there's not much more we can do. It's over, it's done. People can talk about the front office, people can talk about Micic. We tried, but we could have probably gotten more size, more athleticism, probably a better trade for Nurk and another centre. My opinion is I would have traded Tyus for some picks, and then probably because we don't really need a point guard. Devin Booker is our point guard, and he's a lot better than Tyus Jones. He's a better playmaker, he's a better scorer, he is a better defender. He's just a better player than Tyus Jones. And honestly, I feel like obviously Tyus was having a very good season, and when you come to Phoenix, when you're playing with stars, you're always going to be having high numbers. And I would have traded Tyus because we're going to get rid of him in the summer anyways. He's not going to be signing a contract extension. He's going to want a boost in his salary, and another team will give that. We just simply aren't going to give that just because of our circumstances, and obviously he's not a great player. But I would have liked to trade Tyus for some picks and potentially, get a centre on a minimum contract potentially. But that's how the cookie crumbles. I feel like Monte Booker would have been alright for our point guard rotation, and it also allows us to get Bradley Beal into the starting lineup. But that leads on nicely to how Bud can actually fix this. And we have to go back to Booker, Beal, Kevin Durant lineups. We cannot be starting Tyus Jones. Get Devin Booker as your point guard, get Bradley Beal right next to him, and that backcourt, it can work. Obviously, last year, we weren't as bad as people made it out to be. Yes, we got swept in the playoffs, but we finished the 6th seed, we sneaked the 6th seed, and it basically is the same team that we have right now. It's not like we traded for anyone a lot better. It's not like we lost anyone a lot better as well. So it is basically the same team. I feel like if Bud wants to fix this, he has to go back to starting Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal will give you 20-25 points a night. He could create a shot on his own. He can play make. And also, when Brad is locked in, he is a good defender. He's not the greatest defender, but what Brad does, he will contest shots. He will get around screens. He'll try his hardest. The last few weeks, I understand why Brad probably wasn't putting in as much effort, because there was a lot of noise about whether he's staying, whether he's going. If he gets injured, then he's not going to be able to move anywhere. So I understand it and I get it, but now it's time for him to lock in. Bradley Beal has to lock in, and I feel like Devin Booker, these last few weeks, we've been seeing elite playmaking, elite scoring, just an elite player all round from Devin Booker. How he's not an all-star, I will never know. But Devin Booker has to come back into the lineup next to Bradley Beal, next to Kevin Durant, Ryan Dunn, and Nick Richards. I feel like that's our best lineup as of now. Book, Beal, backcourt, then you have Ryan Dunn, Kevin Durant, Nick Richards. That's our best team right now. And when you have Beal, Booker, Kevin Durant, you're going to get open looks. Dunn will get open looks. Nick Richards will get open looks. So I feel like it's very important that we go back to that lineup. Again, Tyus Jones, I would have traded him, but now that he's here, and I get that we made a promise to him that he can come in and be a starting point guard, but if we want to be a serious team, if we want to compete against the very best, it's time for us to speak to him, have a formal conversation with him, and be like, cool, yes, I understand that we gave you a starting role at Phoenix, but unfortunately it has not worked out the way that we wanted it, and we're going to have to move you to a backup point guard rotation, because it's not going to work simply. It's simply not going to work. And Bradley Beal is just better than Tyus Jones. Devin Booker is just a better playmaker than Tyus Jones. He just simply cannot start. The next thing is our center rotation, and Bud has this weird thing of constantly starting Mason Plumlee. And I don't get it why he always starts Mason Plumlee. For me, it don't make sense. It's not like Plumlee is getting you 10 points a night or getting you 10 rebounds a night. It's not like he's a playmaker. It's not like he's a leader on the court. Play Nick Richards 30 minutes. Plumlee can get the rest alongside with also. Why are we limiting Nick Richards to 20-25 minutes? Plumlee is getting majority of the minutes. Yes, Nick Richards is not the greatest center. We already said that when he came in. He's not going to be this magical fix that we probably do need. But what Nick Richards gives you is he gives you the basics to a very good degree. And when you're playing with stars, you're going to be getting looks that he would never ever get in another team. Why is Bud always playing Mason Plumlee? There is no need for Bud to be playing Mason Plumlee this many times. He's a pensioner. I'd rather have also on the court than Mason Plumlee. Nick Richards deserves his 30 minutes tonight. He's averaging you a double-double in 25 minutes. He's averaging you 10, 11 points, 15 rebounds. He's good on the offensive glass, you know. He can play the pick and roll. And there are times where Richards is open in the paint and our players just sometimes don't give it to him. And over time, players will see that and they will pass it to him. But when the ball is in elite hands, when the ball is in playmaking hands, he will get the ball. When he get the ball to Plumlee in the paint, it's not a guarantee that he's going to finish it. Last night against the Nuggets, and I'm going to come on to the game against the Nuggets, I saw Mason Plumlee. There was about 10 seconds left on the shot clock and he's hitting middies. Mason Plumlee hit a mid-range with 10 seconds left on the clock. I'm pretty sure Booker was on the court. Royce was on the court. I'm not too sure he was on the court. But most importantly, Booker was on the court and he didn't try to find him. Yeah. So we have to stop playing Mason Plumlee in these many minutes. You know, he's not good. Decent is probably even a stretch as well. Obviously, he is your backup center. He deserves minutes. But against the Jazz, he played 30 minutes, 30 plus minutes. And I'm going to come on to the Jazz game as well. But another thing that Bud always does is this small ball lineup or the 3-guard lineup. You know, unless you have elite scorers, you can't be playing a 3-guard lineup. How many times have we got dominated on the boards because we're playing a 3-guard lineup? And most importantly, cool, I get it if your 3 guards can at least defend, but they can't. We have to stop playing the 3-guard lineup, and that is a problem. You know, constantly we see Tyus, Booker, Beal, or we see Tyus, Booker, Allen. It's just simply not going to work. And we have to stop doing that if we want to at least have a 1%, 2% chance of even getting to the Western Conference Finals, let alone the finals in general, because it's clear that we've gone all in. And 100% that, like, I know that we tried to make trades to make the situation better, and unfortunately it failed. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So what Bud can do is fix this and just stop playing the 3-guard lineup. Stop with these stupid rotations. Stop playing Mason Plumlee 30 minutes a night, and naturally things will get better. One more thing, and it's also going to lead into the games against the Jazz and the Nuggets. I feel like Bo, the last 2 games, we saw it last year under Frank Vogel where the trade deadline passed and we were desperate. Bo started to get minutes and Bo was performing. Bo has to play. And a lot of people are saying he's not the greatest defender, and I honestly agree with that, but Bo will get you 2 blocks a night. Bo will get you 10 points a night, you know? He's not the greatest defender, but he can rebound. And sometimes there is a lapse of concentration. But if he's playing next to Kevin Durant, if he's playing next to Bradley Beal, if he's playing next to Devin Booker, you'd hope that one of them will constantly, you know, speak to him about hustling on the defensive end. Because Bo is a player with high potential. And it's unfortunate that he hasn't really fulfilled his potential. But, you know, he's a bucket getter. He will get you boards on the offensive glass. He will get you boards on the defensive end. You know, he could contest shots. His lapses of concentration might be annoying, but when you have a player like Bo, he can score from anywhere. He can hit 3-pointers. You know, his height means it's easy to get buckets in the paint for him. He can hit mid-rangers. It's quite concerning that we haven't seen him play throughout this year, but hopefully these last 2 games have proved to Bud that, you know, Bo is a player that can be used, whether it's at the 4, whether it's at the 5, you know? And with a bit of mentoring on the court, Bo can be a very, very important player for us. And Frank Vogel realised it last year. Bud is realising it this year. Bo is a player where we have to take the risk on. We have to take the gamble because we don't really have the luxuries to leave him on the sidelines, you know? Our bench options, cool. When everyone is back fit, it actually is alright. You can get Grayson off the bench. If we do move Tyus to the bench, you get Tyus off the bench. If not, you have Beal on the bench. I feel like Monte is a very underrated point guard. I prefer him over Tyus Jones in my opinion. But, you know, get Bo in that rotation, and I'm telling you right now, Bo will deliver you 10, 15 points depending how many minutes. Give him at least 15 minutes a night. Give him at least 15. And let's see what he does when he's playing next to better players. Because coming onto the games against the Jazz and the Nuggets, you know, we weren't playing our best players. You know, we had 2 big injuries against the Jazz in Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. Against the Nuggets, we lost Grayson Allen. And Grayson Allen, like them 2 3-pointers against the Jazz, wow. Just wow. That's simply sensational. A lot of people are posting the one where he tied the game. But I feel like the one before that was even better. He literally chucked it up with 1.8 left and it went in. And it gave us a chance. But even that one, even the one to tie the game, honestly insane. But going to overtime against the Jazz is concerning, even with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal out. And something that I touched on earlier is the 3-guard lineup. We saw it once again. And there was a run that the Jazz went on, because we were up by 13 with, I think, about 4 minutes left in the Jazz game. And the lineup was Tyus, Booker, Allen, Plumlee, and I think Royce. But you could see that we were getting dominated on the defensive. On our defensive end, we were getting dominated. You know, the Jazz with Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, they were just getting boards for fun and they were finishing in the paint. I don't think they scored a single free to close down the game. They were just getting points in the paint. And Bud needs to see this and realise, I have 3 guards. I have Ryan Dunn on the bench, who is arguably our top 2 defenders in this team. You have Bo on the bench, who again, he brings size to this team. You know, you have Richards, who's a better defender than Plumlee. Get them on. Let them get your stops. There's no need for you to be playing 3 guards against the Jazz. And Jazz are tanking. Jazz are a lottery team. They are tanking. And we're going to overtime. No matter if Kevin Durant is out, no matter if Bradley Beal is out, we needed Devin Booker to drop, I believe, 45 points against the Jazz in order for us to get a win. We needed Grayson Allen to hit 2 big threes, a buzzer beater 3, for us to send it to overtime. And a lot of the reason is not on the players on the court, because if you can't defend, what can you do? It's not your fault. At the end of the day, you can't magically improve on the defensive end. It's not their fault. But what Bud can do is put in the better defenders, and what he can do is realise what's happening, and then from there, that's when we can platform ourselves to perform a lot better. But instead, Bud is not realising that. So the small ball lineup, the 3-guard lineup, it has to stop. But the game against the Nuggets now, it was actually quite entertaining to watch. I feel like a lot of players got rotation, a lot of players got minutes that we probably haven't seen, and you know, with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen out, it was always going to be an opportunity for Bud to test out the players that he has at his disposal. Damian Lee hit some nice threes. Bo 19 points, absolutely beautiful. The number of minutes he got and the way he performs. I feel like Booker, again, you know what Booker's going to do. He got 24 points, point and book. Ty Washington, another great performance. I feel like, you know, we have these players that can do well, and we weren't going to beat the Nuggets. Let's be honest, we weren't going to beat the Nuggets. So what Bud realizes is, cool, let's see which players can perform for us in the stretch in the next few weeks, and if they can perform tonight against the Nuggets, maybe I'll give them minutes as the games go along. So I feel like there's a few players that deserve a big shout. I feel like Monte, yeah, ever since Tyus came into the starting lineup and Bradley Beal dropped, I feel like his minutes has dropped, but I really do prefer Monte Morris over Tyus. At least he's not a cone on the defensive end, and when Tyus is on the court, it's not even like he's a point guard. It's not even like he's leading play. It's not like he's the one playmaking. It's not like he's the one creating. It's Devin Booker. So I think Monte, he got some nice minutes. Bo got some very nice minutes, and again, I'm very happy for him. I really want him to come back into the rotation. I feel like Damian Lee, obviously, we always knew that he had that 3-point shot on him. It's just nice to see him come back from a big injury that had him out for months, and for him to get minutes. But yeah, I believe that Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Ryan Dunn, Nick Richards, that has to be a starting 5. Keep the big 3 fit. If Ryan Dunn probably doesn't perform as well, we can take a chance on Martin. On Cody Martin, we can take a chance on him. Again, he's not the biggest player. I believe he's 6'6", but again, it's still bigger than what we currently have. You know, Tyus Jones ain't the biggest, but you know, if you're playing the Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Ryan Dunn, Nick Richards lineup, Bradley Beal is the smallest player there. It's not that bad. Honestly, it's not that bad. And I truly do believe that if Bud can get his rotations right, if he can start the correct players, if he can rotate the correct players, if he stops a few of the stupid things that he's doing, there is a chance. We have to give up on trying to be a defensive team, because that was never the plan to begin with. We were never going to be this great defensive team that can get stops, that can play hard on the defensive end, that's going to play with two bigs that you might see from the Cavs, that you might see from OKC, that you might see from the Timberwolves. Even though the Timberwolves are struggling, we were never going to be that team with two bigs, you know, getting a big that can hit a three. But what we can do is use our scorers well. We have elite scorers. We have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. Grayson Allen is a great three-point shooter. Royce O'Neal, when he's in the motion, he can hit threes. You know, Tyus Jones, as much as I may not like him as a point guard, if he's on it, he can get you 15, 20 points a night. Use ball correctly and get Nick Richards into the paint. Stuff can work out if we do have them in the team. But it's up to Bud. And it feels like this is the last chance for the big three to work. It really is. I think in the summer, either one of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are gone. Arguably, you could say both are gone. Devin Booker said he wants to stay and be a Phoenix Sun for lifetime, basically. And I really do hope that happens. But also at the same time, if that does happen, I really do hope that they deliver him a title-winning team, because he deserves it, honestly. The Suns' all-time leading scorer. He's seen us play with awful players. He's seen us lose in the finals. He's seen us get swept. He's seen us go through everything. And I really do hope that the front office can build something special for him, for the fans. And it's our last chance. It's time for players to lock in. It's time for players to hustle hard. It's time for players to realise what position they're in. Not many are going to get a chance to play with the likes of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. They're simply not. But it's time for them to lock in. Put in the effort. Put in the hard yards. You know, fight on the defensive end. Try to hit your shots. And if Bud can finally find some sense in terms of his rotations, anything can happen, honestly. But that's just been my thoughts. It's been like a podcast style video, but it's all by myself. But if you guys do have any thoughts, please do comment down below, man. Let me know what you guys think the Suns should do, and let me know where you guys think the Suns finish. Because currently, I don't know. I don't even think we might make playoffs at this rate. But players have to lock in. So make sure to comment down below. I really do hope something good happens for the Suns. I really do hope. I really do hope you get a playoffs. I really do hope Bud figures it out and the players somehow lock in. But if that's how the cookie crumbles, then it should go well. If not, then that's it. But I've been Najib Talk Suns. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. Make sure to comment down below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.